From the very moment that Amazon started promoting Lord of the Rings of Power, it was very clear that they knew there would be backlash. They knew that actual fans would not like this, so much so that they went out of their way to make sure they talked about it. In the first thing we saw from Vanity Fair, the first exclusive piece where they talked about what they wanted to do, a basic plot point, some of the characters, they left an entire section just to talk about the fan backlash and to make sure they blamed fans and said that basically anyone that has a problem with what they're doing, well, it must just be because you're a racist, because you're a bigot. That's how everyone should have understood that this was going to be bad, that they knew there was going to be backlash, and they were getting the media ready for it. And indeed, that's exactly what the media did for them. Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV show reacts to diversity backlash from fans. Lord of the Rings team knew they'd face Tolkien fan backlash over diverse casting. Lord of the Rings TV series team responds to internet pushback over diverse cast. And once the trailer finally came out, we saw the result. Look at that ratio, dude. Look at that ratio. 145,000 downvotes to just over 100,000 upvotes. The ratio is increasing each and every day. Same with the UK trailer. Over twice as many dislikes as they have likes. And it's the same basically any country that released a trailer that you go to. There is a ton of backlash to this right now. So much so that the mainstream media needs to do another round of hit pieces, another round of justification for this to exist. And I saw this article that popped up the other day. Lord of the Rings debunking the backlash against non-white actors in Amazon's new adaptation. With a title like that, you would imagine they'd break it down exactly why you can't be upset about this and prove why all this stuff that we've seen in the trailers and everything they've said is completely and totally okay. Why prove why Galadriel's in this armor, prove why they've decided to condense things that happen over thousands of years to basically over a couple-year time span. Things that make absolutely zero sense to any fan of Tolkien and his work. You'd think that that's what this article would be about. Well, they're not quite up to the task. J.R. Tolkien's much-loved fantasy Lord of the Rings is a work of epic scale, portraying races of imaginary beings in the medieval-esque setting of Middle-earth, culminating in a battle of good against evil. Peter Jackson's film adaptations in the early 2000s established an iconography and aesthetics that many fans grew up with and consider them almost sacred. Well, that's because he tried to work within what Tolkien gave him. Now, were the things that were inaccurate? Sure. The Balrog, was it too big? Yeah, it was compared to how Tolkien had described it. And he removed a character here and added a character here that got maybe more screen time than they should have. And there was fan backlash when that occurred. But all in all, the reason it was so well loved and accepted was because it truly was the spirit of what those books were all about. And a lot of the depictions were spot on. That's why it's accepted the way that it was. The new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, recent reports, and a newly released trailer reveal more details, ramping up anticipation. But it is the diverse casting, which includes non-white actors playing an elf and a female dwarf, which has caused uproar in certain quarters of Tolkien fandom. Some fans argue that Tolkien never described elves, dwarves, or hobbits as anything but white and claim the casting is disrespectful to his books. But this argument is flawed in two ways. First, these are imaginary creatures, which are not always clearly described in the original books. Tolkien was more interested in metaphysical than biological questions. Now, hold on right there. I didn't even realize that part was in here, but I have to go back. Josiah had a tweet just the other day about someone who was trying to say something like that. Let's go right here. All right, if it'll pull it up. This is when someone said Tolkien never describes his characters. Here are 3 paragraphs describing the way that Gandalf, Glorfindel, and Elrond all look. Down to the color of their eyes, to the way that their hair looks, all these things. Tolkien was very specific about a lot of shit. So that just doesn't fly. That argument does not fly as much as they want to make it try to work. Second, even if Tolkien had specified that all elves, dwarves, and hobbits were white, it still wouldn't matter. Adaptations are original cultural products that can imitate, question, rewrite, or interpret source material in various ways. Each adaptation is a new text, and each is an opportunity to update outdated and unacceptable tropes and find ways to represent and normalize non-white characters. There you go. There you have it. That's all it takes. That's all you need to say right now for me to understand that the reason that you're saying people should accept it doesn't have any root in Tolkien, what Tolkien said, what Tolkien wrote, what these stories are all about. It has everything to do with you being okay with things being bastardized to wokeify them, to put identity politics in them, to virtue signal with these things that people care about. That is the end goal. That is clearly what it's all about. You basically just admitted it in that paragraph. Even if Tolkien had said all these things, even if he did lay it all out, it doesn't matter because they should be allowed to do whatever they want and you should just be forced to accept it. Holy shit. Reinventing Tolkien for the 21st century. So then the rest of this article, what is it about? It's about how to fix Tolkien, how what Tolkien wrote wasn't right. There were too many tropes involved. Amazon needs to fix it. These are the people that they're looking for. These are the people that they want. Fuck, man. But as disgruntled fans might reason, if Amazon must have a diverse cast in this drama, why not stick to having actors of color playing the characters who are dark-skinned in Tolkien's text? But that would perpetuate and reinforce the racialized view of good and evil in Middle-earth. Despite Tolkien's overall message of friendship and cooperation, despite his raging against Nazis, the face of evil in Middle-earth is invariably non-white, non-European. And of course, they go to the portrayal of orcs. This person is an SJW. This person wants to desecrate anything and everything that Tolkien wrote. That's all these people care about. They try to say, well, there's some justification for it in the text and here and there. No, there's not. There just isn't. These people are lying. They're manipulating. They're doing anything they can. And finally, when they're pressed about it, they admit that they just want Amazon to change what Tolkien wrote because it's not right. Tolkien, he wasn't thinking the right way. He's stuck in the past. Yeah, he wrote these in the past. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. There's nothing racist. There's nothing sexist about anything that Tolkien wrote. And anyone that thinks there is can go fuck themselves. The fans will continue to stand up against the bastardization of Tolkien's legacy and of Lord of the Rings. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.